Hello everyone, thank you for joining today's webinar brought to you by Cambridge Assessment English. My name is Mark Hurrell and today I'm going to talk to you about accepting Cambridge English qualifications for admissions. So this session is going to be great for anyone involved or working in higher education, particularly those of you who have an interest in student admissions. So due to the current climate, we're delivering this webinar to you in a slightly different way. Like most of you, we're working from home, but we're aiming to give you the best experience we can. And we're relying on home Wi-Fi, so please bear with us if there's any issues. We do have a recording of this webinar afterwards if there's any problems. To get the most out of today, we recommend using headphones for better audio quality. And also don't worry if the picture's a little bit blurry at the start. That's just the live stream kicking in, and it should hopefully improve as we go. Before we start, I just want to say a quick point about some great features using today's webinar. We have a live chat running throughout the session. So please post your questions and comments as we go. I'll try my best to answer them, or my colleagues will try their best to answer them as immediately as possible. But we're also going to open things up at the end for a question and answer session, and we'll go through some of your questions at that point as well. Secondly, you'll see a button called Offers. I'd encourage you to click on that button and find out more about our results verification service. It's a great tool to help you verify Cambridge results. It's completely free, and all you need to do is sign up. I'll be talking a little bit more about this as the session progresses. Okay, let's get started. So today I want to cover three things. The number one would be, what are Cambridge qualifications? Cambridge English qualifications. Number two is, why accept Cambridge English qualifications for admissions? And number three, how can you accept Cambridge to support and reach more students? So three simple things: what, why, and how. Okay, so firstly, what are Cambridge English qualifications? Well, many of you will know that Cambridge offers a wide range of English exams and tests for learners and teachers. In fact, we've been doing so for about probably more than 100 years now. The range includes what we call snapshot tests, multi-level tests designed to give an indication of learners' English language skills at a particular time. That's such as an IELTS test, which is a partnership between ourselves, the British Council, and IDP Australia. Or our newer test, LinguaSkill, which is an online, on-demand, multi-level test. But we also offer in-depth curriculum-based tests designed to help learners improve their English. These are called Cambridge English qualifications. The name qualifications is designed to reflect the fact that they're in-depth and that students invest time preparing for them and improving their level of English before they sit the exam. Cambridge English qualifications are level-based with three variants. So we call them schools, higher education, and business. And hopefully you can see that on the slide here, albeit maybe quite small. The schools and higher education are in the red there, and then the business are in blue. Each one of these qualifications is targeted at a different level of the Common European Framework of Reference, or the CEFR. For those of you who are less familiar with the CEFR, it's an international standard for describing language ability. The framework has 6 stages, ranging from really basic, which is the A1 at the bottom of the scale, all the way through to proficient user, which is C2 at the very top of the scale. Today in this webinar, I want to focus on B2 first, C1 advanced, and C2 proficiency. And those are the top 3 red boxes in the scale. The reason I'm going to focus on these exams is because these are the ones we'd recommend for admissions. Admissions to colleges, admissions to universities, and depending on the program of study. B2 first is an upper intermediate exam focused at the B2 level of the CEFR. It gives students the practical language skills they need to succeed. Many use B2 first for foundation programs, English second language programs, pre-sessional courses, or college admissions. This exam roughly equates to something like an IELTS 5.0 or IELTS 5.0 to 6.0. C1 Advanced, the middle one there, is the perfect level of English to succeed at undergraduate or graduate level courses. It's focused on a C1 level of the CEFR. and that's around an IELTS 6.5 to 8.0, and it tests academic English skills. And then finally there, the C2 proficiency. This is our highest level of English qualification. The exam is focused at the C2 level of the CEFR, which is around about an 8.0 in IELTS or higher. And students who achieve this exam have an extremely high level of English and are more than able to cope with the demands of an academic course, whether that's undergraduate, graduate, or even postdoctoral. So there's B2 first, C1 advanced, and C2 proficiency. So having focused on these three exams, let's have a closer look at what's actually in them. Well, first things to say is all three exams have 4 papers. B2 first will take you around 3 hours and 30 minutes to complete, whereas C1 advanced and C2 proficiency will take you around 4 hours to complete. Each exam covers the communicative language skills, reading, writing, speaking, and listening. But coupled with the reading paper, we also include a use of English task, which are designed to assess students' knowledge and ability to use grammar and vocabulary in their responses. The exams can be taken either computer-based or paper-based format. However, the speaking test is always live, so it's a face-to-face assessment carried out between 2 examiners and 1 other candidate in the room. B2 first is going to include a mix of general content as well as academic content. And then C1 advanced and C2 proficiency have even more academic content, making them more appropriate for admissions to undergraduate and graduate programs. And when I say academic content, it could be something like an extended piece of writing, such as an essay, which all 3 of those exams have. So that's what's in the exams, but that's not enough. We know that higher education institutions need more assurances around the delivery of our exams or tests, which is why I also want to cover a few more points about the security of our exams. Okay, so security. All of our test materials are developed in Cambridge with questions stored in a secure item banking system. This is something many people maybe don't know about our exams, but that's the way we decide to produce them. And when it actually comes to production of the actual test papers, this is done with our very own printing facility in our high security warehouse in Cambridge. So everything's done via us. All test centres need to meet with our regulations for secure storage of test materials and administration. They wouldn't be approved if they didn't do so. And we check every single test centre before approving them to make sure they have the correct facilities before we start. Another important aspect is test day photos. We take test day photos of candidates as an additional measure to help you check that the person applying to your institution is the same as the person who took the test. So we rely on our test centres to manage the identification checks throughout the stages of the different tests that are taken. Centralised marking. No marking takes place by the test centres. The exam papers are anonymised and assigned to the markers at random to ensure that there is no conflict of interest between our examiners and our candidates. So we control the marking. Once that marking has taken place, we run some statistical checks for any unusual patterns in the results of individual students or also groups of students. And this allows us to detect any attempted malpractice before the results are released. And then finally, our results verification service provides the final layer of security in allowing you to check the students directly against our central records and view that test day photo. And we'll have a look at this later on in the session. So far we've seen a little bit about what's in the test, how it's delivered and some of the security around it. But I also want to talk in this section about the results and scores, because I know that's important for any institution that wants to work with a new test provider or understand the test that that provider offers. So B2 First, C1 Advanced and C2 Proficiency, albeit 3 separate exams at 3 separate levels of the framework, they all report on what's called the Cambridge English scale. And what I've done here is on this slide is I've put a red box around the Cambridge English scale. So you can see it runs alongside on the left. It maps to the CEFR scale. Then we have the Cambridge English scale, and you can see how they align to each one of our different exams. So it's a single range of scores used to report results from multiple Cambridge exams and tests. And And the Cambridge English Scale was introduced, I think, in about January 2015, and it provides that detailed information reporting on candidates' performance of each one of the 4 skills with the reading, writing, speaking, listening. All of this information is shown on a statement of results after they've completed the exams, and that shows the overall score and their individual scores. And I have a copy of that in the next slide. So here's an example of a statement of results. It shows the candidate's overall score, their CEFR level, and their individual component scores for all skills. This is useful for admissions teams if you set minimum requirements per skill. So many institutions around the world might say an overall score of 176 on the Cambridge English scale with no sub-skill score below 169, for example. It's quite a common way of approaching the requirements you set. So statement of results are quite a common thing for people to see as well, because students might use them as part of their application. So worth getting to know the details that are stored on this piece of this document itself, as it may become familiar to you. Then lastly, I just wanted to point out some of the things that we produced over the time to help institutions make comparisons between scores. So setting the right scores for admissions is obviously important. And so what we've done is we've mapped the Cambridge English scale to the IELTS scale. You may remember at the start I said that we were 1/3 of the partnership that helps to produce the IELTS test, meaning we have lots of research, lots of information, lots of statistical evidence, enabling us to draw meaningful comparisons between IELTS bound scores and the Cambridge English scale. So, for example, if you were to set an IELTS bound score of 6.5 for direct admissions to your undergraduate programs, you would probably need 176 on the Cambridge English scale as an equivalent. So that's a useful tool. It's available to you if you need it to help you prepare your requirements, but also draw meaningful equivalencies across. So that's Cambridge English qualifications. And I just, as we go, I want to remind you to post your questions in the chat box as we go. My colleagues will be answering them, and otherwise we'll come back to them at the very end. So now you know a little bit more about Cambridge English qualifications. Let me give you some reasons why you should accept them for admissions at your institution. Okay, so firstly, to help you diversify and increase your student admissions. The 3 exams I've mentioned have been taken by hundreds of thousands of students around the world, I think in more than 100 different countries. Now, obviously, things right now are a little bit different. Across the world, exam centers are closed. They're not running exams. Students can't take exams with us. But what I would say is, what about those students who already have their Cambridge results from maybe 1 year ago, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? They've still got a very valid, very strong proof of English language ability. And hopefully, by accepting them, you can help them plan for their futures, even though they're on perhaps potentially on lockdown at the moment. So accepting these exams to your list of accepted tests can help these students who are on lockdown in different countries plan for their future, and at the same time it helps you reach more students, perhaps from places and parts of the world where you weren't reaching before. I say that because some of our exams are more popular in Europe and South America, and perhaps some of the other tests you currently accept don't reach those countries as widely as maybe ours do. So thereby you can diversify and increase your student population on your campus. Second reason why to accept Cambridge English qualifications for admissions would be because Cambridge English qualifications are exams you can trust. Our exams are all backed up by research and based on research. And the research says how important real life, real world conversation is. So we've designed the exams so learners can use their skills for everyday life, work, study, travel, all sorts of different reasons. They're designed to be fair for everyone, so all nationalities and backgrounds. And all the questions we make, they all have to go through a trial period before they even make the final exam. So backed up and based on research. Secondly, securely delivered. In the previous slides, I've mentioned some of the numerous ways that we ensure our exams are safely and securely delivered, from authorized test centers, to test day photos, all the way through to centralized marking. Those are the kind of things that we make sure we have to make sure it's secure and safely delivered, so you can have confidence in the results that we release. And then the third and final thing, sometimes there's no better proof than hearing other people's experiences. And so I can tell you that more than 25,000 organizations, from higher education to ministries of education, employers, they all trust our exams. For admissions, say, thousands of institutions accept us already. So all the universities in the UK, Irish, Australian, New Zealand, all those people and all those institutions already trust Cambridge English qualifications for admissions. So exams you can trust. And then finally, really combining all of those things, you can have confidence that students are applying with the right English language skills to succeed for your courses. So they're rigorous. They're testing all 4 skills. We test students in a way that we know helps them build practical, real-life communication skills. And finally, they're easily mapped to the test that you know, to help you ensure consistency through your English language requirements, whatever that is needed for your academic programs. So diversify and increase your student population, exams you can trust, as well as having confidence that students have the right level of English. Those are some of the reasons why to accept Cambridge English for admissions. Okay, so I move on to my last thing I really want to talk about today, which is how you can accept Cambridge to support and reach more students. That's one of the main things we like to do, and we try to help institutions around the world to succeed at that point. So the first way is quite easy, actually. So it's simply tell us that you accept Cambridge exams, and what we can do is we can add you to our online database and give you access to our public website. So I've got a screenshot on the slide at the moment, but basically this is a database where we store all the institutions that accept our exams, and this page gets thousands of hits every week. So it's a great place to showcase your institution. Typically what would happen is a student would search this database to see which institutions accept their certificates, and then they'd start to make contact. So important to get all the right details from your name, your website, the exams you accept, and for what purpose and for what level, and then we can start to go from there. So that's number one. Just tell us that you accept our exams and we can move on this step. Second way is to publish the acceptance on your website. So from experience, most of you have a dedicated page on your website, something detailing maybe the English language requirements or the English language proficiency requirements, something like that. And you set those for all the academic programs for the courses at your institution. So we would encourage you to publish our exams and your acceptance of our exams, along with the required scores on this page, alongside all the other tests that you may accept. And remember to use the IELTS comparison chart if needed that I showed earlier. And then simply let us know, because what we can do is use this published page, we can use that link on our online database and use the two in tandem together. Okay, and then alongside these suggestions, we'd encourage you to sign up and register for the results verification service. I've mentioned this a couple of times so far, but just to kind of go over again, it's a free online tool to help you verify that a candidate applying to your institution is a genuine candidate. You can check the results and you can check the identity with the records that we match in our systems. So that's what it's aimed to do. I've got a screenshot here. I'll just show you. I've got a screenshot of what the actual page would look like once you've registered. And the important thing to say here is actually that candidates share their results with you. This is one of the things we've built recently with our system, is that candidates receive their results electronically from us, and they can then forward them to any institution they want them to see. So that might be you, and what they would do is they would send their results all the way through to your account. So this screenshot, albeit quite small, so apologies for that, but in some of the red circles there, you can see the top That's telling you how many new candidates have shared their results with you because they intend to make applications to study at your institution. Obviously, if you're getting quite a lot of students, there's a lot of records to go through. You can refine the search, maybe on exam type, student ID, name, date of birth, all sorts of things. And then once you actually want to look at the final details, so the identity and the results details for each individual student, you just click on the view button highlighted in the red circle at the bottom there, and you would see a student page. And I apologize, there's a big red box in the middle of this, but essentially behind there is what it would look like. You would see the candidate with all their personal information that that's needed, their results information by CEFR score, overall Cambridge English score, and then sub-skill scores. Also, you'd start to see the test day photos, so you can check on the identity of the student that's applying to you. So candidates would share their results with you, and that's a great way to see that that Cambridge certificates are being used to apply for your courses. So as that button says, please click in that offers section and sign up today for the results verification service. It's very easy to do. It takes about 2 minutes. It's completely free, and it helps institutions like yourselves verify scores of candidates and applicants, and also helps candidates share their results with you. So it's good for multiple different people. Okay, and then lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we help institutions to reach more students. So we want to help you reach these students, and there are a number of promotional activities that we run free of charge. I've listed a few on this slide, but the easiest and quickest win for you is to share things like your company logo, photos, testimonials, things like that, and we could put them on our social media pages. We have the largest Facebook page in the world, education Facebook page in the world, with about 6 million fans. So you know the content that's shared by us is going to reach a lot of people. So if you'd like to talk to us a little bit more about some of the ways that we can do some joint promotion work, then please do, and please get in contact with us. We'd be happy to speak to you. In fact, I have an example just to show you of one we ran, I think it was back in the middle of last year. And this is California State Long Beach. They started to accept Cambridge English qualifications for admissions to undergraduate courses. So what we're able to do is to work with them, get some nice imagery, and run Facebook campaigns and also Instagram campaigns. And I think it worked well to reach more students, reach students in different parts of the world, and hopefully it's led to a few applications along the way. So there's some quick examples of the sorts of things that we can do and that we have done in the past in collaboration. So that is it. Thank you very much for listening. Just to recap, I've covered 3 things today. Number 1 was, what are Cambridge English qualifications? Number 2 was, why accept Cambridge English qualifications for admissions? And number 3 was how you can accept Cambridge to support and reach more students. I'd love to turn to the chat box now and start to answer some of your questions. My colleague has been going through them as we talk, and she may also help me with some of the answers. So thank you very much again, and please, if you have any questions, now's the time.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. So there's been loads of questions coming in, and I'll just run through a few for you now. So we have one: do they have to share their results with us to be able for us to verify? So is it just a case that the student has to share their result maybe online?
So there's 2 ways. One way is for the student to share the results online. That's one of the ways that we've built recently, actually, because we know that students wanted this ability to share their results through one of our results portals. However, there's also a secondary method where they can give to you their statement of results reference number and their date of birth, and then you can log into the system and do a candidate search that way. So one's like the online method, one's a slightly more offline method, but both available and both fine to use.
Fantastic. Another one, how does an institution let you know that they want to be listed on the site?
On the database, just contact us. Basically, we have what's called an acceptance form, a recognition acceptance form. Just give us your details in terms of your institution, basic details, as well as the exams and scores that you accept for what purpose. And then there's just a signed consent form just to say you're happy for us to publish it on the website. But hopefully you can see the benefits of being on the online database. As I say, it reaches thousands of students on a weekly basis, actually. So it'd be a good free way to promote your institution through our website.
Fantastic. One of our attendees missed the beginning and they were just asking, and I think it's important to recap, who can take this exam and is it all countries?
Yes, so it's taken around the world. I think I said over 100 countries. It might actually be a few more. We have we have over 3,000 exam centers around the world, different countries where you can take the exams. Obviously, at the moment, that's not probably an option because in most countries there's lockdown. So in terms of accepting tests and things like that, we're really looking at those students who already have their Cambridge certificates, and we want to help support them while this global health crisis is happening right now. But hopefully things can get we can get through this and get back onto the normal ways of doing things. And yes, we'll be back to exam centres where they can take the tests.
Fantastic. And another attendee is asking how much the exams cost.
Okay, so the cost of the exams varies by country and by region, as does many English tests around the world. And also, with it being more of rooted in learning and teaching English, the exams would be typically part of a course. Having said that, they're broadly comparable with other tests on the market, say like an IELTS. So roughly speaking, it's a similar price to an IELTS test.
Fantastic. Someone else is asking if the candidate has lost their certificate but knows the certificate number and the date of the exam, is there any way they can verify using those pieces of information?
That candidate is probably best to contact our help desk and or go through their exam centre. Depends on which is available. If it is available, go through the exam centre and see if you can get a copy of the statement of results reference number. Your statement of results form, actually. If that's not possible because your centre may not be working or for any reason, contact our help desk. But typically we use the reference number to do the verification.
Fantastic. And just again on the theme of verifications, what sort of institution do you have to be to get registered? And I think that's for the verification service and probably just as a recognising organisation.
Yeah, so for the results verification service, but also to accept our qualifications and tests in general, it's typically any institution that uses proof of English and certainly needs to verify that proof of English for a purpose. So an obvious example is an admissions team at a university. They obviously need to welcome in new students, and they want to make sure they've got the right qualifications and meet the same requirements as what everyone else has. So they would accept our tests for a purpose. And then, of course, they need to verify that result is a genuine result and that person is a genuine person. So that's where the verification comes in. I would say if you're somebody that just needs to check results, so if you're one of our centres already, whether that's an exam centre or just a teaching centre, if you want to see the results of your students, then we have other systems available for you. If you're a candidate, if you're a student, we have the Cambridge candidate results portal for you to check your result online. So the results verification service is typically just for those that need to verify the results of an applicant.
Fantastic. Right, I'm going to test your knowledge now. What about results of those people who took the exam a while ago, so say 10 or 15 years? Are their results available online for verification?
Okay, we go back to 2005 on the results verification service. Beyond that, it's not to say we can't do it. All we ask is that you contact our help desk and we'll go through the process of looking at our past records. So anything from 2005 onwards would be okay to be seen in the results verification service. It will be there. Anything further back than that, than 2005, just contact us, and we'll try and help you that way.
Fab. There's been some interest in the promotion element of what you've just talked about. So how does the school connect with Cambridge to promote on our Facebook page?
Sure. Okay, so it might be best then just to first of all contact us just through the contact form on our website, and when we can work from there, really. So if you're already someone that accepts our exams who just wants to go ahead with some of the promotion ideas, great. We'll pick up the message and move it into the right ways. It'd be great if you had some examples or thoughts as to how you might like to move forward with that. I showed you one example, just a Facebook and Instagram campaign, but we could do so much more. The second thing is, if you're not someone that recognizes or accepts our exams so far, then that's probably the best place to start. So again, contact us through the usual channels on our website. And first of all, we'll talk about the acceptance of exams, what levels are the best for you, which exams are the best ones for your particular needs. And then we can start the conversation about promotion as well. So essentially it kind of starts with just contact us first, and we decide where we are with things at that point.
Great. And there's been a couple of questions about the how long the results are valid for. So I think that's worth addressing.
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned they're called Cambridge English qualifications, and there's a lot that goes into learning and supporting the teaching of qualifications, and they're extremely rigorous. So actually, with there being a qualification, we don't the results don't expire from our perspective. That's actually a qualification for life. However, we're conscious that in this particular industry, with other well-known tests out there, they sometimes have a 2-year expiration date. So I think ultimately it's at the discretion of the university to set their policy, set their English language policy, and if the tests do expire, we don't put an expiration date on our qualifications, and so we would encourage people to see our tests and exams as a really rigorous proof of English language. However, it's ultimately up to the university to set that expiration, if indeed they have one.
Fantastic. So those are the main questions we've been asked. So thank you for covering them.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Let's just give it maybe 30 more seconds, see if any more come in. Okay, so we've had a question about an institution, what type of institution can be registered to do the tests, and what are the prerequisites for that. You probably don't have all the information there, but you could maybe just describe what kind of institutions do the tests.
Yeah, so we would work with, well, it depends on the different country and the different parts of the world we're working, but we'd essentially be looking to sign you up as what's called an exam centre. And exam centres are kind of working partners with us. So we have a close relationship with our exam centres because it's important for us to work with people that want to grow and to offer as many tests and exams to our students as possible. We also want to offer exams in places that make sense, where there's high demand, say. So it could be anything. It could be large school chains. It could be large, different institutions or different learning institutions that teach the courses, but also run the exams themselves. To actually set up and become an exam centre, I would encourage you to go to our website to find more information. I don't have it all with me here, but there's plenty of information there on our website, and a contact us form to help you get started if that's the route you'd like to go down.
Great. And there's just been a few questions that have come in about the current situation with COVID-19. What's going to happen with final year high school students who won't be able to get a certificate of their level of English as they can't sit an exam? And a different one, what is the contingency plan for sitting exams in the unprecedented situation we find ourselves in at the moment? Yeah. Maybe you could just talk about how we're exploring different options.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, it's a really difficult situation for everyone. We're all struggling to cope with the different ways of working. It's really impacted pretty much every part of our lives, and I know you feel that as well. In terms of what we're doing, as I mentioned, all of the exam centres have had to close for basically because everybody is not able to go out their houses at the moment. So exams, as we know them, have stopped for us. However, that's not to say we're not planning on what could happen in the future. So we're trying to explore different options around online delivery, all the way through to flexibility with delivering exams when things start to become back online. Nothing's really finalized yet. We need to work with our exam center partners to work out what's needed, what's the best thing to do in this situation, what will help everybody. So rest assured, people are working around the clock to try and work out ways that we can still carry on with our exams and still offer the exams that we know the students have worked hard for, but it'll have to be done in the right way and a way that everybody would be comfortable and everybody would know that the exam result certificate at the end of it that has the Cambridge name on, you'd still have those same levels of trust and confidence in the results. So no answers right now, but I can promise you it's the hottest topic we have right now in terms of what we're trying to do here in Cambridge.
Fantastic. And the other thing that's come up a few times is LinguaSkill, and I know probably we're planning something similar for LinguaSkill in the future.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know about LinguaSkill, it's one of our newer tests. It's an online, on-demand, multi-level test, all 4 skills, all automated, in fact, because it's computer adaptive marking apart from the speaking. And it's something we're exploring. So it's the same as the previous answer, really, where we're exploring what we have and what we can do. But right now, it's typically used by institutions. So an institution themselves who want to run exams, they maybe want to check a student's level for placement into certain courses. They want to use it as an exit test from a particular learning pathway they have. So it's typically an institutional level test, and that's the way it's been used so far. If you're interested, please get in contact, because we might be able to discuss with you different options and different ways of doing things. And again, yeah, this is another one of those that we're trying to look at a little bit closer at the moment to see what we can do in this particular time as we all face challenges, I think.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. I just noticed there's been a few about IGCSEs, so I thought I might just address that very quickly. Just to say that, Cambridge Assessment English is 1/3 of a larger organisation called Cambridge Assessment. One of the other parts of Cambridge Assessment is called Cambridge Assessment International Education, and they're the ones that run the IGCSEs. So I don't have any information on the IGCSEs in this particular session or webinar, but it's a good point to note, and we'll put the messages down and make sure our colleagues over there will receive them. If you do have any information for them, probably best to go through the Cambridge Assessment International Education website and raise your queries there.
Fantastic. And it might be likewise important just to, there's been a few questions about IELTS. So maybe, yeah, just describing our relationship with IELTS and how you could get in touch with the IELTS team.
Yeah, sure. So as I say, the IELTS exam itself is a partnership between Cambridge English, the British Council, and IDP Australia. We're, the Cambridge English side, are involved in the production of the test itself, whereas the delivery and the support around it is delivered by the British Council and IDP Australia. So if you have questions about the support and those kinds of aspects, probably best to get in contact with those via the IELTS website would be the best place. But I thought it was useful just to describe our relationship with IELTS at the very start, just so you can piece together all the English language tests available to you. Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Yes, thank you. I'm getting lots of thank yous. So thank you very much for everybody for signing up and listening to today's session. We've recorded this today, so if you do need to come back to the information at all at any point, then please just go to our website and you can download and have a listen again if needed. Please get in contact with us if you have any questions. There's been a few points today where I've said about accepting our exams or promoting them, promoting your acceptance through us, and also the results verification service. So if you have any questions, just please contact us. But from myself and Nikki, thank you very much for signing up and listening to today. I wish you all the best, and stay safe, and hopefully we can speak again soon.